resilience towards COVID-19 recovery. 2 years. It is now 2 years since the so-called coronavirus disease 2019, or also known as COVID-19, exists. It is now 2 years since a pandemic was declared. It is now 2 years since our lives have changed. It is now 2 years of suffering from fears, anxiety, and stress. COVID-19 has turned the world upside down. Everything has been impacted. Fortunately, we are able to cope up. We are able to survive. We are the living examples of Charles Darwin's idea of natural selections. That means we can adapt and change according to our environment. This scientific knowledge proves us that as human beings, we are resilient. We can overcome COVID-19 pandemic. According to the World Health Organization, as of my speaking, there are over 500 million total confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the world, and over 6 million people have died because of it. Indeed, the COVID-19 has led to a dramatic loss of human lives worldwide and presents an unprecedented challenge to public health, food systems, education, and the world of employment. The economic and social disruption caused by the pandemic is devastating. Millions of enterprises face an existential threat. As reported by the World Health Organization and the United Nations, tens of millions of people are at risk of falling into extreme poverty, while the number of undernourished people has increased to more than 800 million people. Additionally, informal economy workers are particularly vulnerable because the majority lack social protection and access to quality health care, and they have lost access to productive assets. Without the means to earn an income during lockdowns, many are unable to feed themselves and their families. For most, no income means no food at all. While the world is being hampered and being trampled by the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, developing nations and regions are seriously facing its impacts. The good thing is some organizations and institutions are continuously helping to make lives better, especially with quality and equity and education. They have produced helpful online webinar series on how to respond to COVID-19 pandemic, from addressing emotional and psychosocial health to developing learning management systems and embracing a variety of technology as a new normal in education. Most countries around the world have been undergoing digital transformations and educating students. The education sector of each country has pushed to shift from traditional face-to-face teaching process to modular and online classes, as well as considering radio and television as platforms for learning. Being an optimistic person, I can say that there is a brighter side of this pandemic. By digitalization, we are becoming resilient and moving fast towards the fourth industrial revolution. Hence, we are not just shifting to a new normal. Instead, we are shifting to a better normal. We need to continue striving for a higher quality of life. Despite this critical situation, education, employment, and livelihood must not stop. Resilience can help us to get through and overcome hardship, but resilience is not something we're born with. It's built over time as the experiences we have interact with our unique individual genetic makeup. That's why we all respond to stress and adversity like that from the COVID-19 pandemic differently. There are many different reactions that we may experience in the face of adversity. Anger, disappointment, frustrations, worry, sadness, tiredness, and helplessness. We may be experiencing all these reactions at the same time or in different times or in different ways. Remember that it's okay to be okay, and it's also okay not to be okay. The most important thing is that we have the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. We need to have the things called toughness and resilience. Now is the time for global support and solidarity, especially with the most vulnerable in our societies, particularly in the emerging and developing nations. Only together can we overcome the intertwined health, social, and economic impacts of the pandemic and prevent its escalation into a protracted humanitarian and food security catastrophe. with the potential loss of already achieved development gains. We must remember that resiliency empowers us to grow and even improve our lives along the way. We must be compassionate and helpful towards others. It's been 2 years since the beginning of this COVID-19 pandemic, and no one is sure how much longer it will last. Although things are still uncertain, we are in this together. I firmly believe that no matter what challenges we are facing, may it be a pandemic, epidemic, typhoon, earthquake, flash flood, volcanic eruption, or tsunami, if we have the attitude of kindness and camaraderie, then we can overcome and mitigate this problem. We can be adaptive. As long as we have each other, there is hope. Thank you.